Welcome to the Online Business Launchpad podcast. I'm your host, Trudy Rankin, and today I have Anhely Millan with me. Now, Anhely has more than 20 years of experience in the fields of innovation, packaging, and new product development, which of course piqued my interest straight away. She's been an active member of the Australian Institute of Packaging since 2015, and her expertise in this field earned her a nomination as the 2023 Packaging Professional of the Year at the Packaging Innovation and Design Awards. I did not know there was such a thing, so I thought that was fascinating. But the reason that I wanted to talk with Anhely today was because recently I attended the Melbourne Gift Fair. And the gift fair is something that I've never attended before, but I'm in the process of setting up a little bit of a case study and doing a project. My daughter is building an online business by selling physical products, or buying and then reselling physical products. And so I was there at the gift fair looking for things that might suit her business, just as ways to try them out. And as I was walking through and looking at everything, I came across Anhely and we just started talking, and it turns out that she's interested in a lot of the same things that I am. One of the key things that she's interested in is sustainability for kids. And she founded a business called Sustainability for Kids. And she's published an educational book called The World Behind Recycling. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the aim of that book is to provide children with the knowledge and the tools to embrace sustainability in their day-to-day activities. And we all know that that's really important. So I thought, what a fantastic person to have on my podcast. I asked her, she said yes. So she's here today. Thank you for being on the podcast, Anhely.
Oh, thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
So could you just start by telling our listeners just a little bit about yourself and how you got started on this journey of having your own business?
As you said before, I've been working in the corporate space for more than 20 years in the innovation, packaging, and product development fields. And in March 2022, after the pandemic and all that craziness, I decided to launch a book. It was my first book, and that's how Sustainability for Kids was born. Since then, the business has grown incredibly. Starting with a book, and now we have a whole online platform where we share educational materials for kids to have access to, parents, teachers. So it's basically a platform where everyone can access these materials. And also we sell books, other type of products there that will help kids to transition to a more sustainable way of living. And the whole journey has been amazing, has been an extraordinary learning process for me, because it took me completely out of my comfort zone. And starting a new business from scratch, knew nothing about it, let alone to set up a website and all those sort of things. The reason I founded Sustainability for Kids was because I saw the opportunity to invest in this field, particularly within schools and communities. Based on my experience, a lot of people, experts, companies are investing a lot of time and effort to find solutions and work on sustainable practices and activities. But it seems like we are leaving behind homes and schools. This is why I basically wanted to focus on kids and communities.
I think it's a really important topic because I have friends that are interested in this space, and a couple of people that I've worked with who focuses on either sort of the circular economy or how do we adapt? How do we adapt, and how do we change our mindset? How do we change our desires and wants so that we can actually sustain a reasonable way of living, but not necessarily the same way that we live now? And because we all like to be comfortable and have the things that we want, it's a really big change for people to go through and think about. So I'm just a little bit curious, what was it that sparked your interest in sustainability?
Basically, when I started my career in packaging, I did a lot of work and I worked a lot on different projects to develop sustainable packaging and sustainable processes from the engineering and technical point of view. So I got involved with sustainability. I think the pandemic made me realize that we as humans have a massive effect on the planet. And I'm not talking about the pandemic itself, but because we were in lockdowns, we saw clearer skies, we saw oceans without pollution, we saw animals coming to their habitat that we took before. So we saw a change on how nature responded. And I think that was critical for me to decide to invest a little bit more of my effort into something more meaningful. And at the work I do as a professional and the companies I have worked for, they have always working towards and still work on sustainable solutions. But as I said before, for me, it was more around how we get to homes, how we get to kids. You said something really important. We do not want to change the way we live. And it's super important that we maintain the convenience and the way of living we have today, because we have come, and innovation have played a big role on it. Like we have come from 200 years of evolution, got us where we are today. Now, we are realizing that some of the actions and some of the things that we did are not necessarily sustainable. And this is what we are trying to fix now. And this is what companies are trying to fix now. However, when you look at the way you think at home, and I am talking now as for my family, sometimes you forget to turn off the lights. You forget to turn off the water. You put the washing machine in the longest cycle with the higher temperature, and you don't even think about it. You sometimes don't know what is recyclable and what is not recyclable. So those small actions, for me, it was a massive gap in terms of education that I realized, in my personal opinion, no one was looking after. And when I tested my book with a lot of parents and kids, I had feedback from the parents saying, oh, wow, I didn't know this and I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay. I think it was more that the effect of the pandemic, I saw the way that nature responded and the gap that we had, or the lack of education that we had at home, or we have at home, when it comes to sustainable practices. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. And it makes me a little bit curious, because obviously what we're facing is something that one person's not going to be able to solve on their own. And I would be interested in hearing a little bit more about what you're doing to partner, or what you would like to do to partner with other groups, entities, people who are interested to be able to just 10x, 100x, or 1000x the impact.
I think one of the things that I have focused on in part of the strategy for sustainability for kids to grow has been collaboration. And since day one, I wouldn't be anyone without collaboration and the collaboration opportunities that I have fostered. I think it's really important to understand that collaboration doesn't mean that you're giving away information, that you are competing with someone. You can be, both companies can be major competitors in the world, but if they are fighting for the same thing, which is protecting the planet, this doesn't matter anymore. And I'm not saying that they need to disclaim critical information, or it's just a simple collaboration. How to reduce waste, how to reduce emissions. That is not rocket science. That it doesn't involve any great innovation that you need to keep. And even if you develop a technology to reduce emissions, you should be sharing it with the world instead of keeping it for yourself. The way my business have grown is by collaborating with people. So I have collaborated with different brands that are playing in the sustainable space. So we have different ways of collaborating, whether it is through podcasts, conferences, or selling a bundle. For example, I have a bundle in my website that I collaborate with a company called The Only Store. They have biodegradable straws, and we partnered together. We created this bundle, and for everything we sell, we donate the profits to the Gray Batteries Foundation. So that sort of things. Other things that will get you greater exposure, I would say. Also collaborating with institutions. So I have a great collaboration with the Australian Institute of Packaging. They sell the book because they want to invest in education. Wherever they go to a conference around the world, they take the book with them. And it's a way for me to reach more people, but also for them to invest more in education, which is their primarily focus, and so on. I have so many collaborations going on. The latest, and it's more a partnership with a company called Ocean Integrity. They clean oceans in Jakarta, in Indonesia. And basically what they do is help the local community get a job. So they help pull plastic out of the ocean. At the same time, they are cleaning the water for them to continue fishing and having a cleaner environment. And for every book that I sell, $1 goes to. So it's a way for me to be out there with them, but also to support the work that they do, which is amazing.
I think that's pretty amazing. I think it's just a really nice way of working together with other people. I've got a couple of questions around that. First of all, I'm just going to ask a really quick one. What kind of organization do you have? Is it just PTY Limited? Is it just a standard business, registered business?
It's a social enterprise. However, that figure doesn't exist as a business. It's a registered business. However, I've been investigating more on how to become a charity. That's one of the goals that I have in the near future, simply because it's easier for companies to invest when it's a charity rather than a company. However, I've worked with companies that are super keen to invest in education, and as part of their marketing strategy, they have developed educational materials to showcase their technology products and things like that. It's tricky, but is on the table.
It's all part of that journey that you go on when you start a business. You figure out exactly what it's about, and then you start to figure out where it should fit in the space and things like that, because you could be a B Corp, a social enterprise, a not-for-profit, or a charity, as you say. It's just an interesting question that you do have to think about and decide at some stage. I'm interested in coming back to what you were talking about earlier, which is the collaborative side of things, just that whole way of working with other entities so that it's win-win all the way around. They win, you win, and the people that you're trying to work with are winning and the world's winning. So I guess I'd be curious to know, just from your perspective, if somebody was interested in starting to collaborate more as a business, what are the key things that you do that make it easier for you to get collaborations going? And what would you advise them to do?
I think one of the key things is for you to be clear what the objective of the collaboration is. Say, for example, I have different type of collaboration, if that makes sense. For example, one is like a social media collaboration. And then what I do there is find profiles, whether it is in TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, that align with my profile and the things that I do. And I just simply send them a message, say, hey, I'm Anhely, this is what I do. What about we partner, do something, and maybe just a 2-minute video on what we can do together, like something like that. And it doesn't cost anything. So it's just time for you to reach out to people. Probably finding the right people online is a little bit, but once you have your network, and it happened to me when I started, I didn't have followers like everyone. And now my LinkedIn has gone crazy with more than 3,000 plus followers. My Instagram account for sustainability for kids is growing. And it's just because you're out there, and the more you like, the more you share, that's how you get to the collaboration point. The other collaboration that I have is someone who wants to sell the book or someone who wants to promote the book. For example, the Australian Institute of Packaging, I have another company who is promoting the book in New South Wales. I simply sell the book to them and they promote the book, but I also promote them in my website. It's like that marketing sort of sharing between the both of us. And the other thing is creating a bundle. If you are a brand, say, for example, we put the book with your product. And this is where I want to grow even more. I have had a lot of people approaching me with sustainable products, and we can create a bundle. We could even create these gift boxes with different products in it. And it's something that all of the brand owners can sell online. So it's a win solution. And it's a way to support each other, small businesses, particularly when you are a small business, when you are a migrant, when you are a woman, is super tricky. And this is why I joined the Migrant Women in Business community, so the one that you saw in the gift fair, because it's a big network of migrant women trying to help each other and trying to work, grow their businesses by collaboration. So I think that's probably the most interesting piece of opportunity that I want to focus more on, and definitely the one that a lot of people are interested on as well.
That was one of the things I was interested in when I was at the fair, and it was one of the things I noticed when I was talking to you, is that there was a whole group of people with booths. So the branding was made by many hands, although each booth had a separate brand specifically for their business. And I just like, for migrant women who have got business ideas and they put businesses together, and that whole support and collaboration thing is really interesting and important and necessary, I think. Can you just talk a little bit more about that organization made by many hands, just in case people are interested in knowing more about it?
So I joined them probably 3 months ago or so. And since then, my experience has been wonderful. So they are a social enterprise. Basically, what they do is they promote businesses from migrant women. And they have a marketplace where it's called Made by Many Hands. It's a marketplace where you create a profile. So I have my profile there and I sell my products through this platform. So it's a community of migrant women working together to promote their businesses and business services, whatever you do. But the most important part of it is that as a community, we work together to improve and we work together to grow. We don't have any particular, we're not picky about this is my product. So just to give you an example, I just got an email yesterday with a bunch of possible leads after the fair. And there are people interested in my book, but interested in other products. And so I sell the products because we are a community. I think that's the beauty of it. As I said before, when you work with that collaboration mindset, you take away that, how do I explain? You take away that conflict of selling just your product or hiding information, or it's just collaboration. And I'm not going to tell you where I get my ideas from or how I illustrate my book or how I published my book. I will be working with you to grow together. That is the difference. And I think it is as important as And to work in innovation or in sustainability, whatever you work, is that mindset that collaboration doesn't mean that you will disclose confidential information to the partner or the person you are collaborating with. The beauty of this community is that we work as one, and they also have a lot of, particularly with government, and so the governments also can support us. And I think that's really important, because when you are starting a business and it's a very small business, and you are a solopreneur, you don't have these contacts. It takes time, effort to create and grow your network. So I think one of the key elements for me is the network and the support that we get from this community.
I think that's really important. And I like the way you describe the intent behind the collaboration. It's all about collaborating and lifting everyone up, as opposed to competitiveness or competing and only having one person or one organization win. And especially when it comes to sustainability, we have to shift our mindset around how we do things and why we do things, so that we're focused on the collaboration and not the competitiveness. And that's tricky because, of course, as nations, states, and things like that, there's always going to be some competition, because everybody wants to live in a nice place and have enough money. The economy's got to be working well and all that sort of stuff. There's got to be work. And there's just a shift in mindset. I'm interested a little bit in terms of your own business journey. As you've set up your business and you've worked your way through to where you are now, first, what would be one of your biggest challenges that you faced as you set up your business, and how did you deal with it?
I think the biggest challenge for me was to set up the website, to set up the e-commerce platform. And I had the idea to, first of all, I needed a platform to sell the book. Yeah, Amazon, it works. But then I said, okay, if I want to sell more products, and if I want to sell, include educational material for free, how do I do this? So I needed the two things, like more like a website and an e-commerce platform. I knew nothing about it, really nothing. And fortunately, I had time back then to research a little bit what were the best platforms to use. So it was literally thousands, millions of iterations, mistake after mistake, and a lot of tests and trials. I had great friends who helped me through it. I didn't have any money to invest in paying $5,000 or more for getting this website all done. So it was literally myself trying my best and getting help from people. I think one of the things that helped me was that I didn't hesitate to ask for help, even if it was someone that I knew could help me with that particular thing. And I hadn't spoken to this person in a long time. I was like approaching them, hey, how are you? Look, this is what I'm trying to do. Would you help me? And I had a lot of help setting the website. Now I know how it works, and I do. But it was super, super difficult.
Oh, I'm resonating with what you're saying, because despite the fact that I'm quite technically capable, the design side of websites just leaves me lost. And so I'm like you, I have to get help with some aspects of that. I can update it. I can create new pages, the shell of the page, but the design part, nope.
I remember talking to my hairdresser, like just literally happened like that. Talking to my hairdresser, and she was also trying to set up her business. And she told me, oh, do you know about Canvas? And I was like, no, what is that? And she told me all about it. And I was like, how I don't use this? Oh my goodness, I need to get it. Those conversations also help along the way. And now it's a different story, but definitely when you're going through it, yeah, challenging.
It really is challenging. And I guess at the end of the day, the vision and the dream is worth it. Going through those challenges and trying to just keep on day after day. One quick last question or two just before we wrap up. What is the thing that's helped you stay resilient and keep on trying despite the challenges, the mistakes, the frustrations?
I feel like it was more that fulfilling aspect that this whole thing was giving me, particularly at the beginning of the year. I lost my job and I couldn't cope with it. And it was really like, I lost my job and I had a major surgery. So I was literally crying every day. But it was a great motivation for me to continue. It was literally the medicine that I needed to lift my mood and to get into a better emotional state. But I feel like even though if I didn't have that episode in my life, I think just because it's something that you have created, that is yours, that comes from your efforts, that no one is asking you to do, I feel like that is the engine to continue working on it. After a little bit, when you start seeing the achievements, and for example, when you see people commenting and sharing your stories or reposting things, or even when it happened to me recently, I was in a conference and I got approached by a lot of people saying, I know your book. And I was like, oh my God, oh, thank you. All those things, they might seem small, but they are fulfilling, and I feel like they are the payback of all that efforts and challenges. So
I think that's a really important point. And for whoever's listening, if you have people that you really value the work that they're doing and that you think they're doing a fantastic job sharing information, support, and services, make sure you tell them, because it's that adrenaline kick is only a little bit of part of it. It's like knowing that your work is valued, your hard work is valued, and people are appreciative of what you're doing. Even just one person saying thank you for what you do can just make all the difference between closing your business down and keeping going.
indeed, it makes a big difference. And it doesn't take, and I always say, you don't need to buy a book from me to support me. Just like a comment, just like a post. And then that's the way you will be sharing the work I do. It's just, it doesn't cost anything either. If you feel that the work that people like me or other even small businesses and solopreneurs, they're trying their best to get the business up and running. They are trying the best while they're learning. So every single piece of motivation will make the day.
Yes, that is so true. It's 100% true. Anhely, it's been really great talking with you. And I love listening to the stories that people have about the journey that they've been through and what they do and things like that. If someone was interested in knowing either more about you or getting in touch with you or finding out more about the book that you've got and the other things that you have, the information that you have available, where would they go?
If they want to connect with me, the best is through LinkedIn. You can connect in LinkedIn, follow me, or send me a message there. If you want to know more about sustainability for kids itself, just go to the website, which is www.sustainabilityforkids.com.au. And it will take you through who I am, the work I do, the podcast, the materials, the things that I sell, so all the things involved with sustainability for kids.
Fantastic. That's really good. I'll put those links in the show notes. And thank you again. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you.